Here's my next project that I want to make. It's a headboard for a queen size bed. Fairly simple. Just banded some molding to transition from that banding to the field here. And this is what I had planned on doing in the field, was this Celtic pattern. But I'm having second thoughts, and I think that this is too wide. It's too much. It's a little over 1.5 inches wide, and I think I want to make that about 1 inch. So I'm going to go up and redo this plan. I'm going to keep it about the same dimensions from the top and the sides. Not about, I will keep that the same. But this is all going to this will get wider, and these squares here will be a bit larger as well, because everything will get pushed toward the outside. All right, I'm glad I did that. You can see now that I've got even numbered dimensions. It'll be much easier to lay it out. So there's the difference in the two. And this one is just too fat for me, the width of these bands. So 1 inch, and then you can see my outline here. That's my 24 by 60. So I can kind of gauge where my tape needs to go, and so I don't cut through it, and then we can go from there. But I like this much better. Just the dimensions. It looks a lot cleaner and a lot less massive. I guess that's the other thing. All right, not too bad. I'll clean that out. That's not going to affect anything cutting that pocket out. But what I did was I went 60 thousandths, and then I went 1/8, and I'm 5 thousandths inside my edge. So I'm wondering if I take a cleanup pass, if that will clean things up a little bit. But you can see, I think it's going to be okay. That I've got, pretty normal stuff there. A little fuzz, but that's not a big deal. It's actually pretty darn clean. That'll be nice. That'll be very nice. I'm placing my design based on the grid system, and so I know my field is 30 by 24. 60 by 24. So midpoint is 30. So X is 30, and the way the design is imported, it is imported at the midpoint on the X-axis. So the midpoint for me is 30, so I've got it set at 30, and Y is 0, and that's where I'm going to place my design. Now, hopefully it'll be right on the money with these lines, but I can check that by doing an air cut here. And that's what I'm going to check out right now. Right, with a design this big, I didn't want to take any chances, and besides, I don't have the option of using the other side. So when I did my air cuts, I had to shift my design just a little bit. I ended up going 1/8 of an inch that way and 1/16 of an inch up. So I'm happy now with the way it's going to cut. It's right on the line here, and it's inside the line this way. I think that's going to be okay, and then I appear to be dead nuts right here. So, you know, a 1/16 of an inch one way or the other is not going to be that big of a deal, I don't think, on this project, but I'm inside the line, and I'm inside the line here. Let me see if I can find it for you. There it is there. So when I drop my bit and do the air cut in this position, I am probably a 1/16 of an inch inside the line. And when I put it in this position, I am about right on the line. So what I need to do would be to split that by a 32nd of an inch, but I'm not gonna worry about that. So it'll be fine. Everything went really well except for this one spot. And if there's one piece of advice I can give you, it would be not to try and move your cord and dust collection with the router in place. Retract that bit, stop what you're doing, get yourself resituated, then go back into your work. So, lesson learned the hard way. I have to deal with that. There's one or two other minor little hiccups, but the vast majority of it really looks really nice. And you can see here. So I'm just going to square these corners up. But I think this is going to look really nice once I get this filled in with the inlay. My thought was maybe I could take care of that little hiccup by widening the cut 50 thousandths. Well, that looks okay when you're going this way, but you thin that out by 100 thousandths, and you're getting close to where this is just going to break out on you. I'm going to leave well enough alone and just deal with this. I want to show you how close I got to my line here. You can see that line is still just there. And then this one down here is probably a 32nd, which is maybe 360, it's less than a 16th. 3/64 maybe, shifted up. So, you know, this is a little over 3, and up on top here, I'm just a little less than 3. But you are not going to see that from the highway, that's for sure. So that's pretty good. The placement of using the grid worked really well. So there you can see that line there again. And I got my corner squared up and the tape removed. I saved most of it. A few of the pieces tore on me, but that only took all of about 20 minutes to square the corners and remove the tape. All right, I've got the final pieces trimmed to fit. And you can see these are my shavings from the shooting board, some of my rough cuts. I back beveled the pieces so that they kind of start to drop in. And I've got everything glued in except these 4 and these 2. I was kind of doing it piece by piece, and I discovered that it's much better to do it as a group. So anyway, these 6 pieces are going to all get glued in at once. And what I do is I've got a piece of aluminum plate here that will cover this part here. I've got another one too. And I take my aluminum extrusions and push that down, holding those in place. These two here, I'll probably just end up cutting some shims to go over those. Making sure I put some tape on here, or a piece of paper in between them to keep these from attaching themselves to this piece. But this piece of aluminum is very close to the same thickness as this inlay that I did. So I'm happy with the way it's turned out so far. I've got this one little hiccup to take care of right here, and I thought there was one other spot, but I can't find it right now. Alright, this screw up didn't go as smoothly as the last one. I ended up with a couple of spots where this plate was loose, so I solved that with just putting some shims in there to put some more pressure down on those interior pieces there. So you have to remember I'm going this way up here, and then just these two down here. So these are hopefully pushing this piece down, and I think they are because this plate is fairly tight. But I guess at some point you got to take a leap of faith and hope that it's doing its job. So I'll give this about an hour or so to cook, and then we'll come back and look at it. But you can see with these extrusions, I've got them turned over. So I've got 2 slots in each of these, and I've got 4, or actually 8 quick clamps holding this thing together. Let me show you this here if I can. So now you can see the pressure I'm putting on that by pulling that extrusion down on both ends like that. It does flex it a little bit, and the plywood is flexed up a little, and the extrusions are flexed in the opposite direction, creating that sandwich I want. So the proof will be in the pudding when I pull it here in a little while, so we'll see how it turns out.